Hello everyone and welcome to the Pocono Raceway, the Tricky Triangle here for the Crown Royal Truck Series doubleheader weekend, starting off with the Hershey's 300 at Pocono. We are ready for 40 drivers to go around for 40 laps at the Triangle, but I'm not here alone. This week I am joined with Peter.
Should be a good one like we have seen at Pocono here in the past. They call it the Valley of the NSDCA. A lot of fans, headquarters out in Pennsylvania, but here on the east side in Pocono, stands absolutely packed for 40 laps of action over 2 days. And we have a Pennsylvanian on the pole, the 89, Brandon Morris.
A shocking pole on qualifying day was that number 89, but remember last season, Diego Yepes was able to wrestle that number 77 that was owned by Shepard into a top 10 finish, the only top 10 finish of the season. Looks like Shepard really loves this Pocono Raceway, but the guy alongside him, Jefferson in that 48 truck, one of the biggest threats for this race this weekend. He's looking to do what Austin Murray did last year and sweep both races.
Row 2, you have the 45 of Alex Peters, who won out in California, and then Antoine Smith sitting there in 4th. Antoine sits about 24th in the standings, so looking to have a big day today. And Austin Johnson debuting the NOS Energy Drink colors there in 5th.
CFRO taking P6 and P8. Stephen Wallace Jr., a great driver. And Patrick Smith, we said in the offseason after testing, Smith was doing so well putting down laps. He starts this race 8th for CFRO. But alongside him in 7th, Alex Benyako, one of the fan favorites here in PA, trying to get a victory this season for SBR. Sebastian Kukulon in 9th in that new Conway colors, but Eric Monaco coming out with a top 10 here to start this race for Smart Motorsports. Should be entertaining to see if that 72 can get up front and fight with the big dogs.
We see sitting back there in 16th would be our points leader, Peter Ajak. He's had some issues here at Pocono, namely season number 3 in that 44, where during the chase, when this was toward the end of the season, he drove straight into the pit wall. But further on back, we go like nearly all the way to the back end of the grid, would be Austin Murray, driver who swept these races last season.
And Murray in that 91 team. Pedal to Metal Racing was the runner-up in one of these races to Austin Murray when he drove the Mid-South Automotive Equipment. They had Logan Cloud in that number 91. Now, the 91 team, they have not meshed well with Murray this season. They aren't doing as well as they have been in the past. And Murray right now in that number 91, he's second in points, but still no victories, only one top 5. He's consistent, but he cannot get up front, and he has not been able to fight for wins like we saw last year. We got 40 drivers in the grid, a stacked house, a lot of fans, and we are ready. 40 laps to kick off the first doubleheader weekend. Let's go down trackside for the commands to fire the engines here at the Hershey's 300.
Drivers, start your engines!
Pepsi and the NSDCA have teamed up this season to bring you the Pepsi Pole Award for the fastest qualifier in all 20 Crown Royal Truck Series races this season. This week it's Brandon Morris in the number 89. He's going to put that Shepard Racing truck on pole. Last year here, they were able to score a top 10 with Diego Yepes. Let's see what they can do this time, starting up front for the Hershey's 300, the beginning of our Pocono doubleheader. Rolling off here for 40 laps at Pocono. Brandon Morris and Jefferson on the front row. Alex Peters and Antoine Smith in row number 2. Austin Johnson, Stephen Wallace Jr., Alex Benyako, Patrick Smith, Sebastian Kukulon, Eric Monaco, your top 10. We got a stacked house of 40 here. Who are your favorites for this race?
I mean, you can't count out Jefferson any week. He's had some terrible luck this season, getting into issues with like either mechanical issues or finding the wall, but other than that, Jefferson has been such a strong driver, and I don't see any reason why he couldn't contend today. Austin Murray, can he come from the back to the front? He did that last season, especially in that second race, because when he won, he would have started like around like 30th, I believe. So he'll come from the back to the front. And then also got to look out for the race within the race. There's 3 trucks, the 44, 71, and 83. It's Root Beer Wars.
Root Beer War is exciting. The dad's Root Beer, number 71, Luke Rainey, bringing up the rear of that. The number 44 has A&W once again on the truck this season. And the Mug Root Beer 83 leads them down with PA native Alex Benyako. One thing to note about the doubleheader weekends, if you weren't around here for last season at Pocono or Chicagoland, the way that the second race qualifies, whoever is on the lead lap, that entire group gets inverted. So if there are 35 trucks on the lead lap at the end of this one, the winner of this race will start 35th, and 35th will start first. Might be a bit of strategy heading in. If you're really far back at the end of this race, might try to stay at the back to get a better starting spot for the Reese's 300 later. Coming down the front straightaway out of turn number 3, Morris and Jefferson leading us down. It's going to be 40 laps at Pocono. Green flag is in the air. We are racing at the Pocono Raceway.
Morris is going to push up big there to turn 1. That's going to give the bottom to Alex Peters. Austin Johnson looking to capitalize as well. Possibly 3 wide for the race lead down the long pond straightaway, but I don't think the 77 will be there. He's going to slot back in line, but Alex Peters looking to have the advantage down into the tunnel turn.
Alex Peters is going to take the race lead early. He wants to lead lap number 1, get those bonus points. We have not had a repeat winner in the Cup or Trucks this season. We are looking to see if we can get our first repeat winner today. Alex Peters, one of the threats, and he's up in the front position. You also got drivers looking for their first win. Antoine Smith in that double zero, already up to 3rd. Look at Zachary DeLello in the 53 trying to bring himself up. Lap 1 completed. It will be Alex Peters in the race lead across for lap 1.
And Ford's going to need drivers like Alex Peters to find them success. They're having, honestly, a terrible year in the top 3 touring series in the NSDCA, and a driver like Alex Peters can carry them back to the greatness that they strive for. But Austin Johnson in 2nd, that's a big run that 77 team needs as well.
Looking down the back straightaway here, you'll see this camera angle a lot as the field goes 2, 3 wide down the back. Jefferson back in 6th trying to make a move, but Austin Johnson with a big run into the tunnel turn. He's looking for the race lead here on lap number 2. He wants to get that bonus point for a lap led, but here comes Antoine Smith, and that's Stanley double zero right there as well.
You've got to be careful when you're back there in the tunnel turn. We saw it last season, a flip between Logan Cloud and Riley Spurley-Tube. Although all Spurley-Tube's in the race today, Cloud is not. You still have to watch for that because anybody can do anything at these racetracks, and you got to be on the defensive. You never know what some of these guys will end up doing or who they'll blame. But now, coming down the front straightaway in the turn 1, does Antoine Smith, 24th in points, have anything for 16th in points? Austin Johnson, both needing a big day, but it's Alex Benyako trying to take the lead for PA, sitting right there in 3rd behind his teammate.
Double zero was all over the back of the 77 coming off of turn 1. That was real close between them. But Antoine Smith has really, SBR has not had all their drivers up to par this season. Irving Allison, Alex Benyako in the trucks, they're in the chase right now. Antoine Smith, Ethan Head not doing so well. Even in the Cup Series, they're not doing so well either. Looking further back, Eli Bright's going to bounce off of the wall. A lot of guys getting off the wall. They're touching in the back, and Rainey's around.
That's the 0-6 around as well, 76 slicing through the grass, but I think everybody's going to be all right. Maybe just some minor damage. Looks like that 6 car is a bit wadded up. I think that's Cordell Smith. As Colton Yo power slides back onto the track in front of Zachary Fitzwater. That could have been even worse of a wreck, but racing back, everybody will be taking the caution, and we will stack them up once again here early.
Zachary Fitzwater with some heavy damage. The 06 HBP, they are a start and park operation. They're trying to come on in and just, run a couple laps and park it, and it looks like they waited a lap too late to come on in because they are now involved in that. Doesn't look like too much damage, but it looks like they'll still end up parking that car. Zachary Fitzwater, though, heavy damage. Luke Rainey, the 71, doesn't seem like it has much damage, but coming down the back straightaway, we're going to go ahead, take a quick replay of what happened to bring out the first caution, but we will see if there will be pit stops when we come back. Let's go ahead and take a replay of what happened down here in turn number 2 on lap number 3. Coming down into the tunnel corner, this is back about 25th to 30th. Maxwell Fye goes flying into turn number 2. He's going to bounce off of the wall, back into Ethan Head. Luke Rainey gets into Head, and they spin around. The 76 gets some damage. The 06 goes flying through, but Zachary Fitzwater, most of the damage goes to him. Couple guys around, though, at the back of this one, including Gatlin Downey and more, as Colton Yo almost takes out Zachary Fitzwater. Couple spins early on in this one will bring us to the first caution of the day. We'll bring guys back to the action right after this at Pocono.
Here they come, a laundry list of trucks coming into pit road. Austin Johnson leading them down over Benyako, Antoine Smith, and Alex Peters. I believe everybody's coming in. Pit window is around 15 to 16 laps, so this would actually make the race about a 3-stopper, but other cautions could easily throw that off. But yeah, everybody coming in. Does not make sense to stay out. You might as well pit, get it done under caution. 77 turns in just like everybody else, and let's see if everybody takes 4 tires. Any wild strategy on who gets off a pit road first.
You see it's a busy pit road down here. Kev Shearer going to be one of the first ones out. Sebastian Kukulon's going to go. I think that might have been 2 tires for Kukulon. We'll get an update real quick for you shortly, but Alex Peters will be the first one out. Anderson Reed is up here inside the top 5 now. Alex Benyako, Maxwell Fye, Colton Lane has moved his way up. Jefferson's now mired back in traffic, and a lot of differing strategies here early on in this event. You only ran a couple laps under green, but Austin Johnson, Alex Benyako up in front. We're up in front. Now it is Alex Peters, Sebastian Kukulon, and Anderson Reed, your top 3. We'll bring you guys back to the action here at Pocono right after this, as we will get the 1 to go in just a few laps.
And as we prepare to get the Hershey's 300 back to green flag action, it was Alex Peters with a 2-tire call leading them off pit road. Also taking 2 tires would be Kukulon, Morris, the 16 and the 60, I believe, in the top 10 as first trucks, I should say, on 4 tires are Austin Johnson, Alex Benyako, and Antoine Smith.
Issue under caution for Kev Shearer. He came down pit road with a flat tire. The 6 team is just coming in for another pit stop, so might just be topping off on fuel. Trying to play some strategy for the team that's only making their 2nd run, but Kev Shearer did have a flat tire off of that, so they must have put a bad tire on the truck. He is going to be restarting this race. The 39th position, 1 truck out of this one. It's the HBP 06 of Gatlin Downey. They plan to start and park this race anyway. They don't have a pit crew down there, so they will be getting ready, probably packing that truck up and getting it ready for the Reese's 300 tomorrow. But Alex Peters in the race lead, Sebastian Kukulon 2nd, Brandon Morris 3rd, Anderson Reed 4th, all took 2 tires, and it's Austin Johnson, the first one on 4 in 5th. Most likely will not matter too much, the 2 or 4 tires until probably the end of the stint, but these guys should be able to make it to roughly lap 20 on the fuel window, which will possibly put us in for yet another strategy race, depending on how the cautions play out. Peters, Kukulon, and Morris leading us down. We're about to get back racing here at the Hershey's 300.
I'm not really too big on some of these guys taking 2 tires because remember last season, them long runs. If we get these long green flag runs, this field can stretch out like crazy, and you're going to want to have those tires and that grip under you to possibly catch up to that car, to that truck ahead. It's Alex Peters, Sebastian Kukulon. Here we go, back to green.
First driver going to tuck out. That's Antoine Smith on those 4 fresh ones. Roger Ray back there also took 4 fresh ones. But Austin Johnson's now going to jump down. Jay Jefferson, he was leading this race trying to get that, or he was up front anyway. He needs to get through the field. Kukulon, though, is going to take the fight to Peters. Both of these guys have wins this season, both fighting for a title, and they are out in front as the Conway Freight number 20 goes to the race lead.
Clear out front, the number 20, Sebastian Kukulon. Morris holding down in 3rd. The top 4 stay the same. It's still side by side for 5th as they head into the tunnel turn. Actually, for 2nd, here comes Morris with a late dive underneath Alex Peters.
1 car up the track. That's one of the Rockstar Energy trucks. Take a quick look at that. It's either the 12 or the 19, and it is the 19, Priya McShane, making her first start this season here in the Crown Royal Truck Series. As Morris now up to 2nd. Kukulon has absolutely launched away from the field as they come out of turn number 3, but Sebastian Kukulon now has a giant margin over 2nd place Brandon Morris.
And Kukulon absolutely trucking away from the field here. Morris blocking Anderson Reed up into the corner. That's going to open up the bottom for Antoine Smith, but Morris will get down in time in front of that 00. Got a lot of Toyotas up here, a lot of Dodges, and a few Fords. All 3 Zachary Racing cars into this front gaggle.
One driver that's been surprising me this season, Matthew Brown in the 16, still hanging up inside the top 10 in points, has the win from the Crown Royal 300, but they have been threats this season. Auto Club, a second place finish, even if it was on strategy, almost won that race. Up inside the top 10 now, Brown is really showing to possibly be a championship threat this year for Butcher Gatorade Motorsports. They're going to jump to the inside, though, of Anderson Reed. Reed, who has not had a good start to the season, he's trying to turn it around at the track that gave him his first 2-mile oval victory, or non-super speedway victory, I should say, 3 years ago in the Mountain Dew Custom Series. But up in front, Kukulon now starting to be chased down by 2 Toyotas, but don't look now. Jay Jefferson clear from the pack. He's in 4th.
Side by side for second. Big push up from that 0-0. Stanley Steamer, not the Stanley on that car, but that was just a steaming move up there. Here we come down the back straight. Jay Jefferson, can he throw it 3 wide into the tunnel turn? I'm not too confident about that move, especially on lap number 10. He's going to push that 0-0 into the corner and clear Brandon Moore.
And really, that's all you got to do. You can make it 2 or 3 wide as lane bounces off the wall back there. Turn 2, coming off of turn 2 is pretty tough to hit, especially if you're on that outside line. But you can run 2 and 3 wide around here if you guys can just keep a line, which is a lot to say when you're lugging these many pound stock trucks coming around these corners at such high speeds. But Antoine Smith trying to hang on over Jefferson. Smith did take 4 tires on that pit stop, so that might be putting him up towards the front, but they really nailed the setup on this double zeros. Jefferson might have given him a little bump up the track, looking for that second position. Zachary DeLello there in the 4th position. A 53 truck won here before. Let's see if Zachary can do it this time.
Jefferson is showing his aggression here today, but he's out of the draft from that top side, especially from Kukulon. He's going to slip back, and now DeLello is making a look on the high side if he can get anything, but way up there in the gray, that's not going to do him any favor. Here comes one of his teammates that is inside, Logan Bradley, but we're really straining out here at the front, but we're back to side-by-side action. Here comes Jefferson, a look down into turn 3. 3 unique corners based off of Trenton, Indianapolis, and Milwaukee, and each of them are a passing opportunity here at Pocono.
That's what makes this track so good, but I want to point out, where did Logan Bradley come from up inside the top 5? This team has not ran well this season. Daytona was pretty good, but other than that, it's been nothing for the 57 team. They've been struggling on setups. They've been struggling getting Bradley adapted to the trucks, and now he's in the 4th position with Anderson Reed in 5th. Both of these guys trying to put themselves back into a title hunt, but look at Alex Benyako working his way through the field. He's back up in the fight. Jefferson clear into 2nd, and looking the rest of the way, Austin Murray is up inside, almost inside the top 10 as he's chasing down 10th place Riley Spurley too.
Got to be careful with that 91 and 28 together once again, if you remember last year. But Austin Murray, clearly he knows how to get around this Pocono Raceway to the best of anyone's ability. He did it last year, and he's going to try and do it again here, this time in the 91, and this time in a GMC. Lycoming County's own Anderson Reed slipping back just a few spots, but holding down a good top 10. That's the run that 41 team needs here in the Truck Series.
Especially being outside of the top 20 in points, that is big. Patrick Smith hanging this 94 inside the top 10. There's your or top 15. There's your points leader, Peter Onjak. Just looking real quick through the field to see if there's any surprises. Daniel Cobb's in the 25, moving his way through. The 72 is dropped to the back. He's been mired in traffic. Irving Allison back there as well. Antoine Smith going after Jay Jefferson up front, but just continuing to look back. Ethan Head might have some damage from that early incident. He's pretty slow, but Zachary Fitzwater right now sits as the last truck with that heavy hood damage. Back up front, though, Kukulon leads over Jefferson, Smith, Bradley, and now Alex Benyako looking for that 4th position.
Yeah, Logan Bradley nicked the wall just off of turn 2. That's going to give the spot to Benyako, at least the inside line. But Bradley ripping the lip there on the high side through turn 3. He's going to have a big run off, a big surge down the straightaway. Benyako is going to be left in the dust, at least for this time, down into 1.
And up in front, Jefferson's going to take an opportunity looking for this race lead. Just like Austin Murray last season, Murray was in the best truck in the field. Now Jefferson is in that number 88 truck, or maybe that's Riley Spurley Tubes. Either way, both of them are very fast. Both Texas Star Racing trucks are very fast. Spurley Tube working his way inside the top 10, but Jay Jefferson has just taken the lead away from the Sauber Racing Team's number 20 of Kukulon, but Antoine Smith putting up a career performance right now in the trucks, up in 3rd. Jefferson, though, trying to pull away from the field.
And it's really no surprise that some of the big, it's all the big teams up front, TSR, SRT, SBR, ZR, Zachary Racing, and then further on back, Pedal to Metal as well, Anj Auto, and Monster Motorsports. Really, the real underdog up here is the 89 for Shepherd. But this is a power track. This is an engine track, and you want to have that momentum to carry it down these very long straightaways and get hard into these corners and make moves happen.
And showing that the 20, one of the fastest trucks on the grid. The 00, we will be fair, the 00 is definitely not the strongest truck on SBR, but Antoine Smith driving the wheels off the thing. The 83 is one of the fastest trucks at SBR, and they are sitting in 4th. But give a shout out to Zachary Racing. They've won here before with DJ Gibson in the 53 truck, and right now they have Logan Bradley, Zachary DeLello, and Alex Peters, 5th, 6th, and 7th, trying to catch up to that front pack as Antoine Smith's going to get on by. But you also got Anj Auto. They're trying to really improve after the last few races with some of their team drivers not running so well. Jesse Turner, Anderson Reed have been at the back for a good portion this season, but Roger Ray is a championship contender. He's up front trying to get that first National Series win, and Team Boss Peter Onjak trying to hang on to that points lead. Morris going after it, the 2 GMCs going after it, but now Alex Benyako catching back up to this front pack. He's looking for 3rd on Kukulon.
Got to remember, 2 tires versus 4 tires, what's going to be happening here as we're deep into this race run. I think because Jefferson took 4, I believe, so Kukulon's really the only one left in like the top 5 on 2 tires.
And that is one thing to note. These guys came in around lap number 5 to pit. So that means we are just about ready to start pit stops once again. Up in front, Antoine Smith, Sebastian Kukulon, Alex Benyako. Murray's going to bounce off the wall further back. But these tires, you're going to be able to run the fuel a long way, especially though we saw at Pensacola that a lot of people were able to stretch fuel longer being in the draft, so maybe Jefferson not really running in the draft, and Kukulon and Antoine Smith almost made some contact through turn 3 as I was talking about that. But you see the field starting to spread out. Some people might short pit, some people might long pit. We'll see how the strategy goes. Kukulon in the 2nd position, Benyako 3rd, Antoine Smith 4th, and Jefferson out in front. Going to take a quick commercial break, bring you guys back to the action here at the Hershey's 300 right after this. Back live at the Hershey's 300, Jay Jefferson out in front, Alex Benyako in 2nd. Antoine Smith made some contact with the wall last time by in turn number 3. He has dropped now to the battling Kukulon for the 3rd position. But now Jay Jefferson out in front. This is the truck that he did not want to see behind him this early. Alex Benyako, the powerhouse from Shade Burkhardt Racing, the leader of Toyota in the trucks. He's up in 2nd now, trying to get a whiff of that draft from the 48.
While we were away, Antoine Smith got into the wall off of turn 3. Seems like the grip is gone, at least in the flattest corner on this racetrack, because Smith obviously had that big slide up with Kukulon a lap previous and then got into the wall. But talking about sliding up, Logan Bradley really pressuring Antoine Smith there, coming through turn 1's exit and nearly got together.
That was pretty close there. The field you see starting to spread out. A lot of the slower trucks at the back. And you're going to start seeing in about a lap or 2, little over halfway, you might see some people starting to duck on down pit road. If you're in the draft, if you're nose to tail, you could probably save some fuel coming on around. I don't know if you'd be able to save it to be able to make this a 1 pit stop race at the end in this second half of the race, because again, fuel window 15 to 16 laps, maybe can stretch it to 17. That might be a little too late or a little too long just to save enough, but we could see anything happen here, especially if this race goes green. Benyako, though, has caught the draft of the 48. He's going to make him use all that fuel up here as we come into this pit cycle.
Would like to inquire a question here. Who has the fastest lap of the race so far? Because we've seen a lot of fast trucks so far, and it would be Sebastian Kukulon in that number 20 over Benyako, Peters, and really everybody up here has been in the top 10, maybe save for Eli Bright there in 10th.
And Eli Bright, noticing that Eli right now in that beautiful Molson Canadian truck. Fans wanted this truck back after last season. It only had, I believe, 1 start at Mosport. The fans wanted it back. Molson Canadian joining partners there. He's been outside of the top 10, fighting just inside the top 20 for most of this race. We got a battle for the lead, though, as we were looking at that. Benyako and Jefferson now side by side. Fitzwater's come down pit road, and we just want to see if anyone else is going to come on in. Doesn't look like it, but a battle for the race lead between two of the fastest trucks on the grid. Jefferson and Benyako down into one, side by side for the lead.
Boys give each other space, and Benyako will back out of it, but making a crossover here on the exit. Can he get there, trying to put the power down? Maybe put it down a little bit too early. Had to back out. Is right there. Nose to tail. Nose to bed. Here they come into the tunnel turn. We've seen it since here before. Does he make the move? Right on the back bumper. Right on the back bumper. He's not going to make the move. Maybe trying to save just a hair of fuel, but there's no way, even if you pit, there's no way you can make it to the end. You're still going to need another pit stop. And Benyako's lifting off. I think it's his time to come on down.
We'll see as they come on around. No, he won't. He's going to stay out. Just a poor exit or entrance into 3. One driver coming on in. That's Patrick Smith in the 94. Cody Smart's bringing it on in with his driver, Eric Monaco. Fitzwater's already been in, so his strategy's out the window. He's not making 18 laps or 19 laps. Maxwell 5, Srigley, Priya McShane, those guys and girls are all coming on in. There's Luke Rainey coming out in that 71. But this will begin the pit stops. We'll see if anyone will be able to make it to the end. 18 laps to go next time by. It might just be enough. This could be a good strategy race coming to the end with drivers trying to save enough fuel to make it to the end of this one. But Alex Benyako now coming back after Jefferson for that race lead.
Oh, we saw it in Pensacola. We thought everybody would be good, and they weren't. So if these guys don't seem like they will be good, I'm not sure if they want to stretch it. But it is early in the season. We're not nearing the chase yet. I think some of these guys might be willing to take some risks, as Jefferson kind of blocking Benyako before he pulls his 83 on in. And this time, I'm correct, he is pitting along with Kukulon and most likely others. You see the 53, 41 as well, 89, 91, 35, Onjak Bright, the 98, that's Stephen Wallace Jr., Matthew Brown, Colt Lane, Cobbsa, Aiden Smith, Turner, Allison, Goforth, John Dilks, and then Kev Shearer, who's had issues throughout the day.
There's Patrick Smith back out, pacing on around. There's Joseph Srigley. That's a lap. Here at Pocono, you can stay on the lead lap if you're close enough to the leader when you come on in. But Jefferson was so far ahead of the guys that were making up the back of the field. So Srigley currently is a lap down. Just going to wait for Jefferson to come on in, though. And Jay, he doesn't... he might be coming in this time. It looks like they're making the move to the bottom. You'll usually see coming through that little short chute there. They'll move low so they can get a perfect line coming on in. And we're going to pause the camera right here as everyone else comes on in. See if anyone stays out that hasn't come in already. I believe those 3 have been on in. The 02 and 6 have been on in as the rest of the field comes on around. A lot of the slower guys at the back here. And there you see that Simtech number 32. But the field now, this last group of drivers coming on into pit. There's Alex Benyako with a monstrous lead over Kukulon. Patrick Smith is now past a few guys. He could get a top 10 this weekend for CFRO, but there's Alex Benyako. We're going to watch these guys go to work on that 48 machine, though.
I'm not so sure about that 6 and 02 pitting, because if you remember, last caution, that 16, Cornell Smith, he pit a second time under that caution, so maybe he's making that gamble as a small team trying to pull something off, but we'll have to see. As down and away goes Jake Jefferson, clear of anybody else.
There's Jefferson coming on out. This is a sketchy pit road exit as Benyako's going to soar past in that 83. He pit a lap earlier. That's, I believe, about 16 laps of fuel. So you should be able to make it to the end. However, again, you might have to do a bit of saving because if you're pushing hard to catch that 83 and you don't have draft, that's losing or using a lot of fuel. But the field's starting to cycle back around. We're going to make sure that 6 car, 1 car is blowing up. That's Joseph Srigley in the 63. And after Pensacola, a race that went away from him due to strategy, that has to be heartbreaking. And it looks like, yes, an engine has gone away on the 63. Hopefully, it won't bring out a caution. He will be stalled on the backstretch, though.
Oh, Fitzwater cutting it close. He got no apron down there in turn 1, so some of these guys have to really watch. But it's 2 seconds, at least that time, by at the line for Benyako over Austin Johnson. Probably a little bit closer where the 20 and 48 are in relation, but they're not doing it themselves any favors trying to get this lead. They are side by side coming down into 1, and Austin Murray as well. Other guys getting racy back there, but Kukulon, does he throw it in? He's going to back out.
Great job by the Pocono track crew to get the number 63 off of the track. No caution there, but Alex Benyako now has a 3-second advantage, almost 4-second advantage.
Trouble!
Spin in the back!
57.
Bradley and Spurley Tube go around. Is that going to bring out a caution? Yes, it is. Caution is out, so there goes the fuel strategy. There goes all of that. You should be able to save under this caution. But Benyako, his 3-second advantage with a great pit stop is going to go away, and he will have to bring us back around. He'll be the first one back, but Benyako did not want to see that yellow. He could have possibly had a race in the bag.
This is really going to help everybody out. They're going to be good on fuel. They're not going to have to worry. They're going to be good on fuel. But I'm curious, maybe some of those guys toward the back, do they want to pit, possibly come down, get a little bit fresher tires? Because, 2-3 laps, they can be an advantage here at this long track. And this is a fairly abrasive surface. You've seen the tire wear really hurt before because Jefferson, he stayed out that extra lap. And by the time he got off the pit road, Benyako was clear ahead of him. So I think maybe some of those guys toward the back might want to come down here, unless they want to stay where they are for the invert for the next race.
That invert is important. Right now, the 06 truck would start 40th, but again, they did not bring in a pit crew, so they would probably still have to, they're still going to be starting in parking tomorrow. Strigley is out of this one. He'll be starting this race 39th, unless they can get under that hood and somehow fix the engine. You got the rest of the field, though, is all on the lead lap. Zachary Fitzwater, they're going to have to bring a backup truck out, or at least put a new hood on the truck, but most likely he'd be starting at the back with as much damage that 59 is. It's pretty slow as well. But you got guys back here. Luke Rainey is possibly coming on in. We'll go up front to see if anyone was ducking on in. Maybe the 94 and the 53. But we will go ahead and take a quick look, see who's coming on in here as a strategy. And yeah, Patrick Smith is bringing that 94 in.
That's an interesting call from the 94, because I think if he's the only one coming in, well, no, because if Rainey and some of these guys toward the back, like I said, are pitting. But boy, Patrick Smith, that is a huge risk in that 94, unless they're saying, we'll just wait for the Reese's 300 to really pull out the stops. But they are giving up a top 10. I am not sure about that call.
Now, the question is, there were drivers who came in that might not have even made it on fuel. Some of them are in the back. As you see, they came in, and they might have those fresher tires. Is it a stop or a fuel only for the 12 team? But it looks like it's going to be 2 tires for everyone. Patrick Smith will be able to beat Cody Smart out by just a hair. But yeah, Smith was top 10. He's going to give up that track position. Maybe he was thinking he wasn't good on fuel, and he didn't want to see something like last week at Pensacola in the Cup Series. Those guys came in a couple laps later realizing they'd run out at the end. So maybe they're just trying to keep it safe, but he's going to go from a top 10 run, probably outside the top 25 easily. Benyako, Jefferson, Kukulon, Johnson, and Anderson Reed, your top 5. Let's go ahead, take a quick look, see what happened to Logan Bradley and Riley Spurleytube in turn number 1.
As they come into turn 1, Austin Murray making a big move underneath the 28 and 57. They're going to come into the corner. Murray is there. They're 3 wide, and Spurleytube nowhere to go. Tries to keep the 91 low, but wants to give him room. Slides up into the 57. Sort of a racing incident. Really just is afraid of being pinched and try to back out of it, but just chase it up the hill. But not too much damage to the 57 and 28. Just lost some ground, and they did not pit, so I guess they think their damage is minor enough that they can continue.
On board here with Austin Murray in that 91 as he was diving into turn 1 all the way on the inside of Spurleytube. I don't know if he had the nose there, but he definitely sent it in, and just real close to that 28. Going to put both of them into the outside wall in the 28 and 57. No contact, but that is some damage to the 28 and 57 who are having a good day. Bring you guys back to the action here at the Hershey's 300 after this. Back live at the Hershey's 300. Lights on the pace truck should go out this time, and they do. Alex Benyako in the race lead. Jay Jefferson sits 2nd. Sebastian Kukulon in the 3rd spot. Austin Johnson sits 4th. And Anderson Reed, with a run that they need in that 41 truck, he sits right now in the 5th position. He's trying to hang on up in front and try to possibly even win this race. Reed right now, 31st in points. He needs to be top 20 if he wants a wild card, but this could be the race that could turn his season around. Austin Murray is up to 6th from starting this race at the back. 7th, Zachary DeLello. Jose Perez putting that 35 up into 8th. Roger Ray into 9th, and Antoine Smith is back in 10th. And looking just further back, Alex Peters back in 13th. Jesse Turner and Irving Allison now moving up a bit. A lot of guys at the back, some damage to those ones, but Patrick Smith and these guys back here hoping that this strategy will be able to play out.
There's a good amount of laps left. You got 10 laps left, but that is a lot of trucks to get by for that 94 team. So still a bit skeptical about that one, but there might be the time to possibly get back up in at least the top 10. Win the race, I'm doubtful on that one. But I would like to give a shout out. There's a lot of amazing trucks here. Give a big shout out to the designers, graphic designers, paint schemers, everybody who makes these trucks, gets them on the tracks, advertising their companies, their teams. They just do a great job.
It is a beautiful field here in the trucks this season. A lot of schemes. A couple iconic schemes staying. The 48, the Cobalt scheme, the Mug, and the Root Beer scheme staying the same. The Dick's Sporting Goods, you'll be able to spot those out on the track. And a few new faces. Glad to see some new companies and new teams starting up this season, especially a shout out to Cordell Smith and that 6 team still able to run after this many laps. Coming around, it'll be 11 laps to go when we go back green. Ben Yacko has to hold off a hard-charging Jay Jefferson. Green flags back in the air, and we are racing once again at the Hershey's 300.
Jefferson not wasting any time. He wants that race lead back. Says, I'm back up to you, Alex. I'm going to take that back. Thank you very much. Nearly loses the back end through turn 1. But he's going to have a big run off the corner, I think, unless Kukulon can give a big shove to the 83 down the back straightaway. But no, Jefferson has it.
This is the race that Jefferson marked on his calendar. Actually, 2 races. He wants to show that he is one of the greats of the truck series of the NSDCA, and what better way would it be to sweep a doubleheader like Austin Murray did as Jose Perez into the wall. Big hit for Peters, and they're spinning in front of the field coming off of the tunnel turn.
Heavy wreck. This is going to be a big one. Big, large accident here. Spinning down, upside down. Kev Shearer, a horrible roll. Cornell Smith got jacked up into the air. People spinning. It's chaos. From 2 and 3, Jefferson's going to lead them back. And now, what's going to happen? We're going to have a much more of a shootout to the end of this one. They're still wrecking. Peters is blowing up. Bradley stuck around with the 6. Onjack is in the grass. That's going to hurt his points lead. Everything has happened. Shearer's driving away. Turner's racing around. They're all racing back. Patrick Smith, strategy, put him in the back, and he's done.
And that CFRO... They have had a lot of issues with crew chiefs this season, as well as team owner Tib Foster, so that's another one. It could have worked if they just kept it clean through the tunnel turn. I mean, it could have worked, but we got a ton, an absolutely metric ton, of torn-up race trucks, and there's 2 TSR guys, Bright and Spurley Tube, and I don't know what happened, but Jose Perez was in the wall, and once they started spinning in 10th, coming through the tunnel turn on a restart, these guys trying to make their way through, there was no way these guys were going to make it through. And that looks like almost all of the ZR trucks are in it, TSR's in it. That's a big hit to a lot of the top teams that were trying to do good here. But some guys in the back, Colton Yo was able to sneak through it with no damage. He's now inside the top 15, so his dream season continues. And some of these guys up front were able to stay as well. But that's a lot of torn up race trucks, including pole sitter Brandon Morris, driver fighting in the top 10 in points, Alex Peters. A lot of good trucks torn up here at the end.
I think a lot of those trucks as well were going to be banking on that invert because we had 38 trucks on the lead lap. A lot of those guys were going to get up and get some good TV time, and now they're out of the race.
Out of the race, Wrigley did pull the truck behind the wall. Another tire issue on the 24, so another flat tire after they replaced an engine in practice for qualifying. John Dilk's now out of this one. Morris is a lap down, so he's not starting up front. And just look at that. That's a ton of trucks out of this one. And really, I think this is the first time in Pocono history we've seen a crash that big. Usually this track is pretty clean, is pretty calm, but it looks like they're getting aggressive this season, trying to go for that win, trying to go for those spots. You also got Spurley Tube out, Colton Lane, Logan Bradley, so it looks like our invert might only be a top 20 field here, but that brings a lot of slower trucks that were at the back, possibly into this one. Jefferson and Johnson, though, out in front.
Yeah, Kev Shearer just blew a tire. He totally didn't flip 5 times, but yeah, a lot of trucks out. This is going to really shake up the point standings, shake up the next race, the Reese's 300, but this race still needs to be finished. We've got an accident to watch over. We're going to have a dash to the end. Let's get that taken care of. Here we go, into the tunnel turn. Alex Peters nestled right behind the 44, Peter Onjack. Brandon Morris to the outside. A late look, an extremely late look from the 45. You're going to get the 44 a little bit loose into the corner. Morris sliding up top. Jose Perez is in the wall ahead, but that doesn't do anything. Peters outdoors the 44, carrying too much speed through the corner. That's going to push Ajak up into the 89, and Peters cleans himself off the 89 as well. Ajak comes back down into the 16 to Matthew Brown. Monaco is going to sneak by up top. Wallace Jr. looks to avoid, but he hits the inside wall. Turner gets jacked up around. He's going to come back down into the 68. John Dilk's nowhere to go, hits the 89, back into lane. McShane, and then the top side just plugs up with Bright, Logan Bradley, and others, and then Kev Shearer gets knocked around by someone. Luke Rainey flying in, hits 32. Colton Lane, Cody Smart able to avoid. Maxwell Fly nearly going upside down as well, but a lot to analyze here.
Looking further back, Kev Shearer was the big eye-catching thing of this crash. As he goes up to the outside, everyone's trying to go up. They're spinning to the bottom, and they would have been fine if the 47 hadn't been plugged up. Kev goes up, tries to stay off the 6. He's actually keeping off a guy's nicely until he hits Spurley Tube, and it looks like the 01 of Maxwell Phi coming on in is going to flip that 24 upside down. And right there's not too much damage to the 24. It did flip a lot, but there's not an overly bad amount of damage to it, but I think at that point RER is just parking it because they need to get a backup truck out. A lot more cars in it. Brandon Morris, the pole sitter, in there. The 57 in the 6. Cordell can't get the 57 off his bumper. A lot of torn up race trucks. The 94 heavy damage, 28 heavy damage, 8, the 25, and it's just calamity down here. A lot of trucks still in this as they raced back to the line, but let's go ahead and get a couple onboards of this one before we go back for this final dash to the finish.
So way back here is the 01 of Maxwell Phi. His Toyota Tundra goes for the ride. Let's watch it. Smoke ahead. Spotters say go high, but the high side plugged up. 24 gets kicked over, and he gets nailed as well, but it's going to drive away. But I believe that 01 truck is done for the day.
Colton Yo holding the visor cam this week in the 02 truck, and he is at the very back of this field, tries to get through it, and somehow he does. Watch as this numbered 02 driver makes it through this crash.
Just timed it perfectly, getting to the inside there, and he's going to actually get past, try to get past the 12 of Cody Smart. Cody got back on track. So those two are lucky misses from this one.
Under caution for yet another time today here at Pocono. A crazed dash to the finish. A late restart brings us to a giant crash down in turn number 2. Many cars totaled. The track was blocked. No one was able to get through. And a lot of drivers with heavy damage. Bring you guys back to the action here at the Hershey's 300 for the final laps to decide the first of our 2 doubleheader, or 2 race weekend winners.
And this one ain't over, folks. We're going to keep on trucking here at Pocono for the Hershey's 300, race 1 of 2, race 6 on the season of 20. Jay Jefferson leads over Austin Johnson, Alex Maniaco, Anderson Reed, and Sebastian Kukulon. Highest forward will be Zachary DeLello there in 7th spot. Roger Ray, Antoine Smith, and Jose Perez rounding out your top 10. Eric Monaco, big run for him there in the 72 truck as well. Further on back, missing the wreck, Cody Smart and Colton Yo. And the 32, a little beaten up there. I believe Alex Fletcher's in that truck this weekend, but not doing too bad. It's going to probably have a good invert, and I don't think that will be a backup.
No, there's not too much damage on that. The 47, 98 don't have too much damage. The 6, it's a bit bent up, but they could always buff out the scratches. But I think this 8 truck, heavy front-end damage to that. He's going to have to either attach a new hood, but they might want to just go for a brand new one. Don't know how much engine damage could be in there. We have 24 left, and all 24 on the lead lap. A lot of drivers out of this one, but we're coming back to the green flag. Jay Jefferson leads them back down. 6 laps to go at Pocono.
Also, I doubt there are any more fuel concerns because this time we've had 2 cautions to deal with. Now, Jefferson really trying to break the draft as they come through 1. He's got a big lead over Austin Johnson, who's really trying to block the field, trying to block the runs from Benyako and Reed behind. Here they come. Austin Murray into the top 5 now.
Murray's gotten it done here twice before. Benyako, though, wants to go. He wants to win in front of the home crowd. 2 trucks slow. There's a spin at the back. It's the 6 and the 12. or the 19 of McShane. My bad there. So we're going to have another one. Cautions breed cautions here at Pocono. And now this could set us up for a 2-lap dash. Jefferson has hit these restarts so well, and we're under yet another caution. But as they come on through, Anderson Reed is now into that 4th position. And look at Roger Ray in the 84 trying to make a move for a top 5 run here. But it will be Jay Jefferson leading us back once again around. Johnson, Reed, Benyako, and DeLello, your top 5.
I think Reed could have made that move. He just waited a little bit too late there. But Jefferson, heartbreak for him. He's going to have to deal with yet another restart with this absolute horde of drivers behind him. It looks like a harmless spin in one for the 6 and the 19. Might cause them to go to backups. We'll have to wait and see for race 2. But we will get a replay of the accident and see if we can get this Hershey's 300 back going for a finale.
And on this restart, just coming into turn 1, Cordell Smith on the inside. Bright goes 3 wide, but I don't think Cordell, I think he just missed his braking point right up into McShane. They hit pretty hard, and you see a couple trucks behind him is probably why the caution actually came out, plus multi-car crash. So it's a small spin. They were stationary for a little bit, some damage to both trucks. McShane not happy on the radio with the 6, but we are under yet another caution. We'll see if we can get this race back to green, because remember, the trucks do not run the green-white checkered roll. Bring guys back to the action at the Hershey's 300 right after this. Come through turn 3. If the lights on the truck go out this time, we will have a 1-lap dash. If they do not go out, Jay Jefferson could be your race winner. This is the deciding factor right here as they come down the front straightaway. Jefferson hoping that the lights stay on as we come across the line. They go out. We will have a 1-lap dash to decide this one, and Jay Jefferson is going to have to hang on over Austin Johnson, Anderson Reed, Alex Benyako, Zachary DeLello, and more behind him. Top 5, or outside of the top 5, probably won't be able to make the win. Heck, even Austin Johnson, Anderson Reed, and Alex Benyako might be the only 3 to get there, but we are heading into turn 1. Next time by will be the white flag, and we will go green.
This is going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be a 1-lap dash. Jefferson has hit his marks on the previous restarts. Do they have anything for him? We've seen on these restarts again. You're all going to be bunched up. It's going to be an insane battle for these positions, and you got to think you don't want to lose any because you want the points. Now, if you're in the front, so you're not further, I guess you're not stuck in the middle for the invert because you want the points. You just don't want to be in that middle ground. I think some of the guys in the back are going to try and see who can drive the slowest to start on the pole tomorrow. But pace car through the tunnel turn. Fans will be on their feet in the massive grandstands on the front stretch and in the campers on this racetrack. This is going to be a good one, folks.
Looking back here before we go green, the 6, the 76, the 8 definitely have damage. The 19 might have taken the truck behind the wall. They did. Must have been an issue there. But it looks like possibly Cody Goforth could be the one sitting on the pole if those bottom 3 go to backups. We'll have to see what the teams decide after this. But Jay Jefferson, Austin Johnson, Anderson Reed, Alex Benyako, Zachary DeLello, and the rest of this top 10 don't care where they start tomorrow because they want to win. Jay Jefferson trying to get that first win on the season. Same with Johnson, same with Reed, and same with Benyako and DeLello. Any of these guys could get their first win this season. Coming down the front straightaway, green flag is in the air. Jefferson with another massive restart.
Looks like Anderson Reed got off the gas a little bit slower. Austin Johnson not going to have a threat down into turn 1. Does Benyako make the look for third? He will. It's going to be big here. This might set the race between the 48 and the 77, depending on what can Benyako do through the corner. Big move, not lifting off the gas too much. He's going to take third. Does he have anything for second? Ray and DeLello side by side. That's going to be Murray and Antoine Smith side by side. Here they come into the tunnel turn. Anything for Austin Johnson, anything for Jay Jefferson.
Through the corner, Johnson needs to hit his marks if he wants to get a run. He might be in there. He has the draft, but I think it might be too little too late as they head into 3. Cars into the wall. Turner's just riding the wall, but they are trying to push for everything they can. Jefferson in the lead. He's walking up the track. Here comes Johnson to the inside. Does he have a run coming off the corner? It might just be too late, but he has the momentum. Not going to happen. Jay Jefferson is going to win the first of the 2 doubleheaders, Hershey's 300 at Pocono.
Coming across the line, it will probably be Cody Goforth because he just managed to stay behind Jesse Turner, who hit the wall. So I think Goforth is going to get it done unless the 6 and 76 can possibly get repaired.
Hagen doesn't look like he has too much damage to that truck, so maybe they'll try to repair it. The 6 truck does have some pretty heavy right side damage, but maybe one of the teams will give them the opportunity. But we know for sure Bright has to go to a backup truck. That engine is exposed. The hood's up. Might have been some issues with the engine there. Better to just go to a full-on backup. But Jay Jefferson in the 48 was able to hang on the last restart. Johnson second, but give a shout-out to Anderson Reed. 31st in points, 0 top 10s this season, and he comes out to Pocono, one of his favorite tracks on the schedule, comes home with a 3rd place finish. Alex Beniaco 4th, DeLello comes home 5th, Ray 6th. So the top 5 stayed pretty much the same, but Jay Jefferson, he's finally going to break through, scores that first truck victory, and becomes, I believe, the first driver to win in both the Cup and trucks this season.
So definitely the day Jay Jefferson wanted to have good runs for Anderson Reed, Austin Johnson, like we mentioned, and it will be a top 10 as well for Eric Monaco. But folks, don't go too far. We do this again. The Reese's 300 will be coming up soon, as well as the Xfinity Pennsylvania 500 for the Sun Drop Cup Series.
MDCS will be at Oxford Plains at a later time, but we will go ahead, get ready for this Pocono doubleheader, the end of this Pocono doubleheader. But we also have the Cup race, which should be entertaining to see these Cup guys out on the track for the first time since they're testing here at Pocono in the off-season. We have a lot of racing left to go here at Pocono for this Pennsylvania weekend, but we are excited. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Reese's 300. We will have the Hershey's 300 next time out here on the NSDCA. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys next time on the NSDCA.